MedCram.com.
I'm outside and I want to show you something. When I put an infrared filter, which basically takes any kind of infrared and it will make it a shorter wavelength so it appears as red. So when I put the filter on, anywhere you see red, it's plenty of infrared light. Check this out. Okay, here's the filter. Check it out. Wow. Everything that is red is giving off huge amounts of infrared light. Incredible. Incredible. Do you see why being in a green space is so necessary? So I want to explain to you about what you're going to see. And it really all comes down to a little film that you can put over the lens of your smartphone. It's about $30, and I'll put a link in the description below. But let me explain to you exactly what's going on in this little film that you can put over your lens. So it comes in a package just like this. And basically, it's a tiny film like this that you put over the lens of your camera. I've actually peeled off the wax paper on the back, and so this part is sticky, and it will stick to the lens of your smartphone camera. And these are the kind of pictures that you can take with this film that you put over the lenses of your smartphone camera. So let's talk about how this actually works. So this film is made up of rare earth metals that can actually excite electrons in the outer shell of the material. And you can see here, there's a number of things that can happen where when you excite an electron, it goes up and then comes down at a less energy level, in which case the photon that gets produced from this type of energy exchange is going to have a lower energy, which means usually a longer wavelength. Now, that's not what's happening in this situation, and we're not having an equal raising up of the electron and then coming down in terms of energy. What's actually happening is this one here. Now, notice there's a certain wavelength that comes in, and it excites the electron up to a certain energy level, and that's based on this particular energy level here. When it comes back down at a higher energy. A higher energy means it's going to have a shorter wavelength. Another way this could happen is if a smaller amount of energy goes in and then another one goes elevated up to that level and then it comes down. But basically, the thing that happens here with this anti-Stokes scattering is that long wavelength will then be transmitted as a shorter wavelength. And that's exactly what we want in this situation because we want near infrared, which is just past the red. You can't see it because the wavelength is too long. And what it turns it into is to visible red light. So when you put this on, you're going to see that anything that is infrared is going to be more red, but it's not going to change any of the other colors that are coming in. So this works because of the material. You don't have to plug it in. You don't have to do anything. You just put it over the lens. So I actually think this is a pretty cool device that you can buy. I'm going to put a link in the description below for this product, and it's produced by a company called Phosphortech. And I really want this to be used because I want you to be able to see with your own eyes the things that I'm going to show you so you can see for yourself in your home, around your house, where the infrared light is coming from. Now, because I really wanted everybody to get this, I didn't want price to be a barrier, I called Phosphortech, and they were very gracious. They actually cut 25% off. So instead of $30, it's more like $22. And so for our viewers, I will give you the link that gives it to you for a reduced price. I'm not involved at all with the company. I don't have any financial relationship. They're not a sponsor. We're not an affiliate or anything like that. I just wanted to get you the best price so you guys can buy this, put it on your own cameras, and you can upload images and tell people about the infrared light that you're seeing because I really want this to go far and wide. So here's another example of a photograph that you can see. This is all green. So all of this area in here is green. All of this area here is green, even some there. And you can see that these leaves are highly reflective of infrared light. You can't normally see that infrared light, but it comes to this camera and this film will turn that infrared light into red light. You can see that just about everything else is the same color. Even the blue sky is pretty much the same color. So it's not changing that. It's just moving infrared light up into the visible spectrum so you can actually see it. This is something else that we talked about. We talked about regular glass that you see. And you can see here that regular glass that we had in our old homes does not block infrared light, but there is high solar gain, low E. There's moderate solar gain, low E. And then there's low solar gain, low E, which really takes the infrared light out so it does not come in. So low E glass will not allow infrared light to pass through because of energy efficiency. So let's see what that looks like. So here we have a nice room that looks like it's very brightly lit, lots of light coming in. But what I want you to notice is the infrared light on the outside. Some of it is coming in, but not as bright as you would normally see it. And let's get a little bit specific with that and take a look. Here's another room where it seems to be pretty brightly lit. But what you see here, this is all black. This is all black here. You don't see any kind of light. And maybe a little bit up here, but notice that we have an open window and the light that is coming through in this area here is much brighter than the type of light that we're getting through this window. Here's another view again. It's a pretty brightly lit room. I mean, we have a lot of windows here, 5 windows that are almost floor to ceiling, and they're letting light in. What do we see here? When we look at the infrared light, it looks pretty dark. Generally speaking, these 2 windows on the ends, this window here and this window here, you can actually open those windows, and I want you to see the difference. Notice the difference in the red light coming there versus here. So there's a lot more red light coming in, which means infrared. The other thing that we talked about was the ability of infrared light to penetrate through clothes. And you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers of clothing is what it takes to block a lot of this light. Whereas one layer of clothing that is, for instance, cotton or wool or polyester, we're looking at a lot of these ones up in this area. You're not going to be blocking a lot of infrared light. Let's take a look at a video where we actually looked at one of my scrubs to see how much infrared light's coming through. These are my scrubs made out of polyester, 70%, and rayon, about 20%, and some other stuff. And what we're going to do is come behind here and to see how much of this light we can actually see. And you can see there maybe a little bit of an outline of that tape to see the pattern, but not much is coming through. Okay, so this is with the filter on. Let's take a look here and see how much of this infrared light is coming through. And as you can see there, quite a bit's coming through, and it's being blocked by the tape. You can compare how much of it is coming through there. The other aspect of this is how much light is coming through from the clouds. So we did a couple of videos in terms of sunlight and reflective infrared light outside and the clouds. And I want you to keep in mind how much infrared light there was in those rooms compared to what we're about to see outside. The sun is a little bit out right now. You can see how much infrared light you're getting. You can see the shadows on the ground where the sun is actually shining and the shadows next to him. So the sun is behind the clouds, and many of you wanted to see what kind of infrared light you still get. And this is right now on a cloudy day, the amount of infrared light we're talking about. Okay, so this is a cloudy day, and I want to show you, it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, pretty cloudy, not much sun out, very overcast. Okay, we'll see how much infrared is coming out. Okay, here it is. You can see that everything that is red is infrared. We're still getting plenty of infrared. Even standing in the shade under a tree when there's sun is going to give you tremendous amounts of infrared light. And we've known that this has been a benefit for some time, right? People who live in green spaces, this was a meta-analysis that was done in 2018. 28% reduction in diabetes, type 2, 16% reduction in cardiovascular mortality, 31% in total mortality. And of course, a lot of people would say that this is related to the type of people that live in green spaces. People that are well off financially, they are more likely to exercise. There was a Green Heart Louisville project where they took 8,000 mature trees and planted them in a 4 square mile area in South Louisville, Kentucky. And they noticed in 745 subjects that over that 2 to 3 year period of time, their HSCRPs dropped by 13 to 20%, which means a reduction in inflammation. And that actually correlated with a 10 to 15% drop in strokes. And again, this is potentially from infrared light. Of course, trees do other things. They give off oxygen. They also give off phytoncides, which help the immune system. But certainly, it seems as though the trees are the ones that are actually doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Let's talk really briefly about lighting inside. The treatment here is to go outside, but people have questions about being inside. If you look at the solar spectrum, it's very broad. It goes from here all the way out, including infrared light. Incandescent bulbs do the same thing here with the blue. It's the LED bulbs that are just limited to the visible spectrum. There is no infrared light whatsoever. So what we wanted to do is actually see what an incandescent bulb looks like in comparison to an LED bulb using this filter. Let's take a look here. That is an incandescent fan, and that is an LED bulb. So you don't see any red there. That's just blue coming through. And there is incandescent infrared. This is a paper that's still being looked at. It's in peer review. We've talked about this before, but I wanted to remind you of it. Glenn Jeffrey's lab looking at LED lighting and specifically what happens when you add incandescent bulbs to it. Took 22 subjects, randomized them 11 subjects in each, and did color contrast sensitivity. And after just 2 weeks, there was a difference, and it lasted up to 6 weeks and beyond. Real quickly, I'll show you that study here. This is what the work environment looked like. This is what the work environment looked like from an infrared standpoint. There was nothing. And then what he did was added some incandescent bulbs in their area in a randomized fashion. This is what it now looks like with infrared light. And as compared to the control group who had the same threshold at 100% for both red and blue light and their cones, this actually showed an improvement in mitochondrial activity. And there was a reduction that lasted up to 6 weeks after that initial trial there with the incandescent bulbs. He says that it was consistent with what they'd seen before in terms of red and infrared. There was some pretty groundbreaking evidence that they showed, and they're waiting for this to get published. It showed that simply changing the environmental lighting in a free working environment was actually beneficial. They also showed significant balanced improvements in both the protan and tritan range. That's the red and the blue. That was new, that they hadn't seen that before. They saw this up to about 6 weeks. I think it's important to review because, as we've talked about before, there are new lighting requirements that are coming out in 2028 that are going to make this even worse in terms of the lumens per watt. So going from 45 to over 125 lumens per watt. This has been an issue. In terms of near-infrared light, we've been seeing that diminishing and going away in our environment and therefore in our lives since 2003 and probably before. We've been on a downward trajectory in terms of the time that we spend out of our home. This obviously took a big hit during the beginning of the pandemic and has not yet recovered. Remember, in terms of physiology, what we believe happens here is that near-infrared light is able to penetrate through the skin into the mitochondria. We know that because of recent studies that have been published, and that it reduces oxidative stress, increases ATP, carbon dioxide output, and reduces glucose in the systemic circulation. So please, if you choose to go ahead and get one of those infrared films to put over your camera, send some images in, start uploading those and start to talk to people about the benefits of infrared light in your environment. Test it and see how much infrared light's actually in your home versus outside. I think you'll begin to see that if you really want to get infrared light, the best place to be is outside. And if you don't have that light, well, then consider getting some red lights if you'd like. But again, I still believe that even in the wintertime, during the day, there's going to be plenty of beneficial infrared light. If you like this, please subscribe. Join us at medcram.com. Thanks for joining us.